Hey Eagle fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into Philadelphia Eagles Now. This video is brought to you guys by Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com/chat for 20% off your first order, plus free shipping. More details later on in the video, but the link is down below right now in the description box. So, per request, we're going to go ahead and jump into another mock draft here. I'm getting so many DMs saying, Thomas, give us another mock draft, this time with some trades. And so, without further ado, we'll jump into my mock draft 2.0. As, of course, we know the Eagles currently have 7 picks in the NFL draft. They actually picked up another one, making it 8 picks in the NFL draft via the Carson Wentz trade. So this one will include the 3rd-round draft pick from the Indianapolis Colts. But most notably, we all understand number 6 overall, the really important draft pick, the one they've got to nail in this year's NFL draft. The team needs, you see them on your screen, we know this, wide receiver, linebacker, corner, defensive end, possibly offensive line, although not so much O-line now with Kelsey coming back, but still, they have a lot of needs, and now 8 draft picks to go ahead and figure things out. So, they have 6 overall, 37 overall, and then 2 in the 3rd, 70 and then 85. That one, of course, via the Indianapolis Colts and the Carson Wentz trade. And then the later round picks here, 2 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th, and 1 in the 7th. So we will jump right in and get into the 1st round and go all the way through the 7th round, as I have done a ton of research. I use the Pro Football Network Mock Draft Simulator, and hopefully you guys like the picks that I went ahead and gave to our Eagles. So pin comment down below. Before we get started, who do you want the Eagles to draft in round 1? I think you're going to be curious who I take in this year's, or in this edition of the mock draft. I want to see your guys' thoughts right now down below at the pinned comment. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into the 1st round of my mock draft. So normally the Eagles would be at number 6. However, my mock draft simulator went ahead and gave me a trade. Here's what the trade looked like. And I'm going to be honest, I accepted this trade. So the Patriots wanted to come up from number 15 and get the Eagles' 6th overall draft pick. They would use that draft pick to go ahead and take a quarterback, which honestly is a very likely scenario. They offered 15 overall this year, a 2022 first and a 2022 second. It's too good to, I could not pass that up. It was too good to go ahead and pass up. We had to give them an additional 5th round draft pick. That's not a problem, 139 overall. And so the Eagles now will have possibly three 1st round draft picks next year if this trade went ahead and went through. And again, any team could come up to number 6 and get a 1st round draft pick in return. So I went ahead and did it. So it bumped us back, a lot of spots, all the way back to 15. But to me, having another 1st round draft pick next year, possibly 3 during a year the Eagles have a ton of cap space as well, it was too good to go ahead and pass up. So now, let's look at the previous picks here. The Cowboys took Patrick Surtain at 10, Giants took Micah Parsons, Niners took Kyle Pitts, Chargers took Caleb Farley, and the Vikings took Christian Barmore at number 14 overall. So with the number 15 overall pick, I took Jaycee Horn, the cornerback out of USC. And I know, listen, I don't think cornerback is the biggest need on the Philadelphia Eagles. I think wide receiver and linebacker are. But up to this point, there was no Jamar Chase, there was no Jalen Waddle, and there was no Devontae Smith. And so no wide receiver made sense for me at number 15. And also with Parsons gone 11 to the Giants, I went ahead and got with the next biggest need, and that is cornerback opposite of Darius Slay. And Horn is probably considered one of the top 3 cornerbacks in this draft. Son of the former NFL wide receiver Joe Horn, who I saw play in person back whenever I was a kid. He is widely considered maybe even to be the best corner, although I don't see him being the best, but definitely a 1st round draft pick and would make a ton of sense at 15 overall. He did opt out mid-November in 2020 for the draft. He's been preparing for a long time, but if you put the film on for Jaycee Horn, is an athletic cornerback who can play man, who can play zone, and I think would be a massive addition on the backside and help out fill the other spot opposite of Darius Slay, which has been the real issue and was the real issue last season because not only was Avonte Maddox not good and injured, they just didn't really have an answer playing the number 2 cornerback spot. And if you put Horn in there and he turns out to be a really good starter and a true number 1 corner, both him and Darius Slay can combine to be one of the best cornerback tandems Philadelphia has had in a very, very long time. So, moving back again, doesn't grant us the wide receiver that I want. I'm not thrilled about it, but 3 1st round draft picks next year, getting in, of course, the Colts one projected for Carson Wentz, and then the Patriots one in this mock trade was too good to pass up, and so I went ahead and showed you what exactly would look like if the Eagles moved back from number 6 overall. Would you guys be interested in this? Like, would you be interested in trading back from number 6 overall? Very curious your guys' thoughts on this. Wide down below for yes, and down below for no. I want to see your guys' thoughts on moving back, but getting additional draft capital in future drafts. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at who was gone in the 2nd round as Philadelphia gets ready for their 2nd pick in the NFL draft. Rashad Bateman, very sad, he was gone to the Saints. Zavin Collins, the linebackers. Asante Samuel Jr., I don't really need another corner, but he was not available. And then, of course, Jalen Phillips went to the Jets as well. That leaves us with our 2nd round draft pick of Rondale Moore, the wide receiver out of Purdue. They have to get a wide receiver in this draft. I know I didn't get one in the 1st round. I'm making up for it in the 2nd round, and Moore to me would make a ton of sense as he is widely considered one of the most explosive receivers in this draft, and he would add to the speed on the outside Philadelphia tried to do last year, and then would try to go ahead and just, further produced that this year with Reagor in year 2, and then now Rondale Moore being in the mix to start at wide receiver. There are some concerns there. He's 5'9", 180 pounds, a little bit smaller, but he's not like a Tutu Atwell size. He's like 5'9", 165 pounds. So the size is not a massive problem for me, but we know the Eagles need to get a wide receiver, and he was the best wide receiver available. If Rashad Bateman would have fallen to this spot, I would have taken him, the wide receiver out of Minnesota. He's a bigger, more jump ball type target, but with him gone, you got to go for the 3rd or 4th best wide receiver, really the 6th or 7th, because the 3rd or 3 were already gone in the 1st round, and Moore to me made the most sense. He was great overall in his career at Purdue, and Purdue has done a very good job at making NFL talent, not necessarily wide receivers. Haven't had a 1st-round guy taken since 1975, but I think he could be a really good addition to the Eagles wide receiver room overall, and like I said, they've got to get a wide receiver, and so I took the best one available here in the 2nd round. All right, 3rd round. I thought a lot about going defensive end here in the 3rd round, a lot about going linebacker here in the 3rd round, and then I sat there and went, you know what? Moore is great. I like Moore, but I want more wide receivers. With Amari Rodgers from Clemson sitting there in the 3rd round, I couldn't pass up on him. I took back-to-back wide receivers, which is a draft sin. Like, you shouldn't do it. But Philadelphia needs to get the wide receiver position figured out. They need to put talent around Jalen Hurts. They said so earlier on this week. And so Rodgers comes in here as a more complete wide receiver in terms of size-wise. Still explosive, still really, really good, and would be paired fantastically, I think, overall with the Eagle wide receivers they have right now, including Moore. So Rodgers, of course, tore the ACL in 2019. There were a lot of concerns. Could he get back to what he was going to go ahead and be last year? And he did. And he's still fast, and he's still explosive, and I think he can contribute very well in the slot, and it's a spot that's been kind of filled up a little bit with Philadelphia by Greg Ward, but I think Rodgers is a better overall option. So, big fan of Amari Rodgers, back-to-back wide receivers here in the 2nd and 3rd round, and honestly, I would love this idea, and this comes, obviously, if they don't take a wide receiver with number 6 overall. If you take, you get Jamar Chase, you get Devontae Smith, you don't need to go ahead and take any more wide receivers. That's good enough for me, but if you miss out on that by trading back, then get 2 of them. I took Moore, and then I took Amari Rodgers. You guys think wide receiver is the top need for the Philadelphia Eagles? Give me Y down below or 1 down below for yes, 2 down below for no. I think it's the top need, and that's why I'm addressing it here with some early picks on day 1 and day 2. Okay. Now, the Colts pick, right? Because, of course, the Eagle trade, this is going to be the Carson Wentz pick. And I thought long and hard about what to do here in the 3rd round. And then I saw Hunter Long, the tight end out of Boston College, available. He's considered the 3rd best tight end in this draft, maybe the 4th best tight end overall. And I thought, with Zach Ertz most likely gone, maybe he's gone by the time you're watching this video, but a trade or a cut seems to be on the horizon. Why not draft a replacement there to go ahead and pair alongside Dallas Goedert on the Eagles tight end depth chart? He's a big guy, 6'5", 254 pounds. He's a great pass catcher, also a good run blocker, and to me would be a good young rookie addition to bring in, just in case either Dallas Goedert flames out or gets injured. You have a good tight end to go ahead and back up, and again, help Jalen Hurts. This draft is very much for helping Jalen Hurts, and taking him in the 3rd round to me would make a ton of sense. They really only have 1 tight end on the depth chart right now, and that, of course, is Dallas Goedert. Technically, Ertz is still on the depth chart, but I would assume he's going to be gone at some point in the coming days and weeks. And a guy like Hunter Long still makes a ton of sense from a pass-catching tight end standpoint, and some consider him to be the 2nd best tight end in this draft, maybe even the 3rd best one, with Kyle Pitts, of course, going number 1. So, my 4 picks in the first 3 rounds, we went corner because we moved back in the 1st round, back-to-back wide receivers, and then, of course, filled a need and what I think will be a hole once they lose Zach Ertz, and that is by taking a tight end in Hunter Long. All right, let's go ahead and before we keep going here, just quickly, I did do a mock draft earlier on a couple weeks ago, and so here's the thumbnail for that. So go ahead and check out my original mock draft, which has us taking a wide receiver at number 6, if you like that sort of thing. Also, yesterday's news and rumor video, which really went well on the channel yesterday, and I covered a lot of things going on in Philadelphia, including the Zach Ertz trade. That thumbnail's on your screen right now as well. And then, of course, the Carson Wentz trade. We covered that just a couple of days ago now, longer than that, but we get you guys up to date on everything regarding the Eagles on a daily basis here on the channel. So whether it's mock drafts, news and rumors, or just overall videos updating you in the current state of the Eagles, we got you guys covered here. So make sure you guys subscribe down below for the latest news, rumors, draft, and free agency videos here on Philadelphia Eagles. Now, all right, later round draft picks into the 5th round. So when it gets hard from a mock draft standpoint, because the names are well known, we got to give you guys updates on who these players are. And I went with safety here in Caden Stearns out of Texas. He's kind of a personal later round draft pick favorite of mine. With Jalen Mills being an unrestricted free agent in 2021, safety becomes technically a need if they don't go ahead and bring Jalen Mills back. And of course, Rodney McLeod will be the starter on one end. but bringing in somebody else could make a lot of sense. Now, he's a big-time recruit. He played well at Texas, but did have some injury concerns and inconsistency. It's why he's going to fall back later in the draft, but he's really, really good in man coverage, has great speed as well, and those are two things you want in your safety at the National Football League level. So, in 7 games in 2020, the stats on the screen right now, I think he would be a great pick in the 5th round. I see him more as a late 3rd, early 4th round guy, but he fell in this mock draft with the Pro Football Network, so I jumped on Caden Stearns out of Texas. Okay. Before we keep going for the later round draft picks, name a prospect I should watch more film on. You guys have one that I should watch a little bit more film on? Let me know who that is, as I try and watch a lot of film for a lot of players, but of course can't watch them all. So if you have a favorite I haven't talked about, let me know who that is in the comment section down below. Okay, 6th round. I took a quarterback. Now, don't freak out. Remember, I said, Hurts, don't bring in competition, right? Like, just get it back up and move on. This is assuming they don't re-sign Nate Sudfeld. He goes somewhere else. You got to get it back up at some point in the NFL draft. And a quarterback like Jamie Newman out of Georgia, who sat out in 2020, he's very much a wild card. He's going to fall in the draft big time because, of course, you don't really know how good he is. Transfer out of Wake Forest and then, of course, to Georgia, but never really played because JT Daniels won the starting quarterback job with UGA and Kirby Smart this year. But the upside is intriguing for scouts. He has a lot of the intangibles you want and makes a lot of sense from the mold of Jalen Hurts. Just in case Hurts got injured, you're bringing a quarterback out of the same overall game plan and gameplay style. So again, this is not for a quarterback competition. This would not create any quarterback controversy. This would just be a solid backup in the later rounds of the NFL draft that to me would make a lot of sense for Philadelphia. Okay, before we keep going, we mentioned our sponsor for today's video, Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com/chat for 20% off your first order plus free shipping. And I keep raving about the perfect package because it is the perfect package, right? It comes with everything you could possibly need for your needs, including the Lawnmower 3.0, the 8-hour battery life. You can use it in the shower, you can get it wet. I mean, this thing is absolutely fantastic for those hard-to-reach spots. Also, the travel bag, the deodorant, the toner, all of it comes in the perfect package. Right now, it is up to 20% off plus free shipping. And when you order for the first time, just again, use our link, manscaped.com/chat. That'll be down below right now in the description box. Pick up the perfect package before the sale runs out. Okay, final draft pick here as we get into our 8th and final one in this second edition of the mock draft. I wanted a linebacker, and the best one available in the 7th round was Riley Cole out of South Alabama, who was projected to be a special teams guy, but a guy who would make the team and contribute. And I wanted to get a linebacker earlier on in this draft, but of course it didn't happen, and so I wanted to at least get some depth here to go ahead and add. They need depth and need help at linebacker. I hope they address that at some point in the offseason better than a guy like Riley Cole, but we wanted to go ahead and take him because he's someone who can take in the 7th round and still expect to go ahead and make it the team, and that is what we're looking for with our later round draft picks. So there you go. Let's go back and do a pick review. Again, I traded back. People might not like it, but a 1st round draft pick next year to me is something to go ahead and consider. Jaycee Horn would be a really good draft pick out of USC. I would be very, very excited for him to come in and be opposite of Darius Slay and learn under Darius Slay. Back-to-back receivers and Moore and Rodgers. The hope is one of them turns out to be a star. I think the odds of that would be pretty high. The trade for Indy in terms of getting the Carson Wentz 3rd round pick, Hunter Long, tied on to Boston College, makes a lot of sense. And then our later round guys in Caden Stearns, Jamie Newman, and Riley Coleman, all of them are just kind of depth fillers who could eventually be good players, but they come in and be backups to positions of need at safety, quarterback, and linebacker. That's it. Grade the mock. What do you think? I mean, this one is interesting because you don't get your superstar wide receiver that I keep telling you they need to get, but it shows you what a mock draft could look like if you were to trade back in the 1st round, and that was the point of the whole mock draft. So, A, B, C, D, or F, give me your thoughts on that down below. Go ahead and end today, although, of course, make sure you guys are subscribed because we're going to do plenty more mock drafts. We still have over a month and a half before the NFL draft here, and I'll show you guys some more examples of what could happen with our Eagles and all of their picks coming up in later videos. Ultimately, for today here on Philadelphia Eagles Now, I'm your host, Thomas Mott, signing off for the rest of your day.